Hello YouTube, I'm Zach, you're watching ZakDTV. How you guys doing today? Alright, let's start this off. As you know, I like to do something interesting, something fun, something important, then I'll finish up with something dumb, give you a laugh. Let's get through this day together, okay? First off, I want to start with something interesting. I'm gonna start with Tidal Music. Tidal Music, you know the comp. They're a streaming platform that was put together by Jay-Z, Beyonce, deadmau5, I think Chemical Brothers are in on it. There's a whole bunch of people in on this thing. Now, they've been quite the streaming service since they came out. Now, they've been hit with a couple different lawsuits. One that's pretty current is not paying one of their artists their royalties that they're supposed to get. Another one was when they were resubscribing customers who canceled their subscription because they still had their credit card information on hand. They just automatically resubscribe these people for another year. That's a little shady. I'm sure if you didn't catch it, you probably end up paying for the year, right? They've also been kind of slowly dying here. They're really not that great of a format. They're supposed to be a higher fidelity, cleaner music, less compressed. You can't really hear a difference between that Pandora, in my opinion at least. And I listen to a lot of music. I have quite the stereo set up here in my room, and I don't see a difference between it. I tried it, I didn't like it, I didn't subscribe. They just got partially bought by Sprint. You guys know Sprint, giant cell phone provider, who's dying. These are two dying companies grabbing each other. Now, Sprint has done this before. They picked up Nextel when Nextel was dying. They wrapped Nextel into their plan, used their towers, got rid of the little chirp to talk thing. I haven't had Nextel in 15 years now. They've managed to stay alive. But Sprint right now is one of the largest dying companies in the cell phone marketplace. They're losing subscribers left and right, and they just can't keep up with the industry. Now, they've bought a third of Tidal, 33% of Tidal, and with this, they plan on giving Tidal out with their phone. Tidal is a company that was based on there will never be a free service. Does this make it a free service if you're buying Sprint, or do you think people will buy Sprint phones just to get Tidal? Let me know what you guys think about this. They've been in the news a lot for the last year and a half, 2 years, and I just have to wonder if this is one of their final death bells, if this is the end of Tidal, the end of Sprint, or do you think them coming together is going to make them go somewhere? Let me know. For something fun, I have got a story for you. Customs and Border Patrol down on the Mexican border, they seized 3,000 pounds of marijuana. That's not odd for Border Patrol. They catch a lot of big busts. The thing that made this odd was the way they shipped. They packaged it to look like melons. Look like watermelon specifically. They were wrapped in green, even had a little bit of pink paint on them and stuff. I don't know, kind of give them that look, if you will. They found 390 of these packed into a reefer truck. Reefer truck. I just got it. Reefer like weed. Reefer truck is a refrigerated truck that was coming into America from Mexico. These were packed in with a full shipment of melons. There were 390 of them all together, weighing 3,000 pounds. Huge thing. And they found it. It was flagged for inspection. They pulled it over. They found it using the non-intrusive imaging, which is basically a giant x-ray. If you've ever seen this thing, it's really cool. It can x-ray the whole side of a rig at one shot. Pretty neat. I like the technology. Now, they caught it. They busted it. To me, it's kind of stupid anymore to try to even get these things across the border. Why not just come to a spot like California, Colorado, these places where it's legal, start a little farm, and export it once you're inside the United States? Bad idea. Don't listen to me. I didn't say that. But the biggest part of this story to me is it was like they're packaging their weed with their munchies all in one nice order. I personally would have loved to have gotten that shit. My next topic is something important. This was something I started off writing the story. I was looking at what happened to Milo Yiannopoulos, I think the guy's name is. He's a real controversial figure right now. He's an anti-feminist, homosexual who allows people to talk, to say their mind, and to really let people express themselves. And then he has his own arguments, and he argues very well. And it does aggravate a lot of people who can't keep up on his level. I don't agree with everything he says, but I do agree with his format. His format is, if I say something that bothers you, you rebut me, and we can discuss. We can figure out what is wrong, what is right, and together you guys can come to an opinion. And I thought what I'd do was take the story in the way of fascism and how it is affecting America. He recently had an event shut down because protesters wouldn't let anybody into the building. They were censoring him. I thought I would go into the fascism on that, because that is part of fascism, is censoring other people's opinions. And everybody's screaming fascist, 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 blah, 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 while they're doing it themselves. They don't listen to someone else's point of view. They don't like someone else's point of view, so they will shut that person down so that way he can't get his point of view out. And that is fascism. It is. It's censorship. It's not right. We have freedom of speech here, and you're denying people their rights. Well, I thought that's where I was going to go with this story, and I couldn't. I started off with fascism, and I started looking into it. And now what I've come up with is basically a new wave of fascism here in America. To start with, we really need to define fascism, and that is no easy task in and of itself. If you type it into Google, you're going to get this. And it's an authoritarian and nationalistic right-wing system of government and social organization. In general, extreme right-wing authoritarian or intolerant views or practice. That describes what happens when you censor someone. I agree. That is fascism. So, are these protesters fascist? I don't know. Let's get into another definition. If you look it up in the American Heritage Dictionary, you get a system of government that exercises a dictatorship of the extreme right, typically through merging of state and business leadership together with belligerent nationalism. Or we can also define it as the inventor of the word. Now, this isn't Mussolini, this is his ghostwriter. The guy's name was Giovanni Gentile, and he said that fascism should be more appropriately called corporatism because it is a merger of state and corporate power. Now, it seems to me that, everywhere I look, I'm seeing people yelling fascism, 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 and we need to look at this. This really needs to be examined. Remember, some defining characteristics of fascism are military suppression, mass mobilization of the public, politically motivated violence against their people to achieve their own ends. So when you look at it, fascism is everywhere. Like, let's take the protest over the pipeline right now. A pipeline approved under the Democrats, the previous regime, and this saw protesters being assaulted by government forces, the military in fact. This is mobilization of the military to suppress the people, fascism. And in this, the Guard was mobilized to quell the protest in order to protect corporate interests, the owners of the pipeline. Another example of fascism I came across was the bailouts that we had, the bank and GM bailouts and Chrysler bailout. When the banks decided to play with our money, to go as fast and loose as they wanted to go hang out, they wanted to make as much money as they could, as quickly as they could, and they were packaging these mortgages together and selling them off, and they knew they were bad, but they were doing it, and they were selling them for money, and the people buying them knew they were bad, but they were showing that they were able to make money. They fooled the ratings bureaus, and they got wealthy on lies. That's what it was. And when it failed, our government hid the bank's wrongdoing and bailed them out. They covered the corporate banks and made sure no one went to jail. We can go back a little further than this, to the war on terror. You remember how when we invaded Iraq, they had weapons of mass destruction? Now it's been proven that was a false document. That is absolutely proven without a doubt. This isn't a conspiracy theory or anything. Look it up. It is there. Now, our corporations needed a war, though. We live in a military-industrial complex. They needed a war. We manufactured the documents to make it okay, and we went into Iraq. Who benefited from that? Well, you and I did. Our government didn't either, really. But who benefited? Halliburton, Lockheed Martin, the big companies, the military-industrial complex are who benefited from this. More so, companies like PepsiCo, who supplied Gatorade to our military for our troops, or Nabisco, who's sending food overseas. They have these huge military contracts we as people are paying for, and it's going into these corporations' pocket, all for this war on terror that was founded on a lie. So with that, I ask you, who's winning this war? Is it us? Is it our soldiers? No, it's the corporations. They're making the money from it. We could go on and on about that. I'm only going to bring up one more. Obamacare, that whipping post for the Republicans and the savior of the Democrats. The system, though, only benefits the insurance companies. Insurance company heads help write this, and everyone has to pay for it. Insurance companies have guaranteed themselves a 100% market in the U.S., because if we don't buy the insurance, we get fined. So therefore, they're profiting from this. This brings me to the current outcry. We have a man in office right now who is pro-business. And believe me, I agree with a lot of what he says. A lot I don't, but a lot I do. But let's focus on the state of the United States. Our media is overwhelmed with protest or the mobilization of the people. Trump is continuously spouting off things that keep someone mad at him. Doesn't matter who. As long as there is a controversy, we're not paying attention. We just went through an election cycle that pitted two of the worst examples of politicians against each other. A reality TV star and a long-term politician who has proven she can be bought by business interests. And this brings me to the real winners in this, the corporations. While we focus on pussy grabbing or what Madonna said, we're not paying attention to people like the Koch brothers, who put $900 million into this last election cycle, or Tom Steyer, who donated $66 million to promote clean energy. He wants us to focus on climate change. Just so happens he has a major stake in a green energy company. There's also 22 single donors other than Steyer who have contributed at least $10 million in the 2016 election. I ask you, are they just giving this money away? Or are they buying their influence? Are they buying their power? Now, by controlling our news, which a lot of these corporations do, like GE, I believe, is who owns NBC, and so on and so forth, they are controlling us. And as we scream and cry here, we ignore the real issue. Not that we have a fascist president, or that people protest the wrong way, but that we are being played by the corporations. We are puppets to this regime. People cry, fascism is coming, Trump is fascism. No, I say fascism is here. It has been here, kicked its shoes off, and it wakes up on our couch every morning and eats our breakfast. What are we going to do about it? To wrap this up, I'm going to end with something dumb. Thanks for sticking with me through my little rant there. I tried to shorten it up as much as I could. I just had to get it out there. This next one is about a woman who doesn't understand she's not the most important person in the world. She's an elderly woman, so I wanted to give her the benefit of the doubt, but after watching the video, I couldn't. You know what? Just watch.
She has called me names and insulted me just for sitting down in the seat saying that I came here to celebrate today.
Is there going to be a problem?
There will be. I would like for him to change seats with someone
No,
who did not.
I'm going to get somebody, well, you don't have that right. So I will get somebody to come and talk.
You pretend you have the moral high ground, but you put that man's finger on the nape of your butt. That man doesn't believe in climate change. Do you believe in gravity? Did you know gravity is just a theory?
Gravity belongs to me.
Where?
And that's in your plane.
I bet
We're gonna have to take you off this plane right now. You got to go on this complete please. You got to go on this complete.
I paid for this seat and I'm sitting in it. He is in my space.
She's causing hostilities.
There's one of two ways right now. I need you to grab your phone and come to the plane. Or I can escort off the plane. Another transportation police.
I'm going home now. My mother-in-law, his mother, died. We had to be here. I'm going home. There is no way I'm getting on this.
Not had issues on this plane, and we were going to be a lot of issues right now, unfortunately.
Fine, I'll be quiet. I'll just wait.
You're not going to be allowed to get this plane. I'm not going to allow that either, unfortunately.
I talked to the captain.
Captain wants to go? Okay. So at this point, Captain is off his phone. I'm going to have to actually grab it from officer.
I'm going to be important in my own bed tonight after being at my mother-in-law's.
Unfortunately, not on this plane. We can get you rebooked on something else and see what else we have, but I can't be on this.
My husband lost his mother. Have some respect.
And I'm terribly sorry for that, but that does not give you the right to treat me the way we treat you.
What if we trade seats and she quiets down? How would that be?
Honestly, at this point, the captain has already been called.
The captain doesn't know shit. He's still on what y'all say.
Let's try that.
Please ask him again if we settle down, if that can be okay.
My husband lost his mother.
Sorry, I have to get one more in.
I think it's anyway.
Oh, he does? Okay. Hold her?
Man, we're waiting on you.
I'm there. You're
Can I get a whole road myself?
You are
You're buying drinks.
Can you see where I say these people are dumb? She never thought she'd get pulled off that airplane for acting the way she was. She has absolutely no respect for another person's feelings, his right. Now, come on, peep. I've said it before, I'll say it again. Acting like this is not your way to get your point across. I'm not saying that because she's left. I'm not saying that because she's right. I don't care. I'm saying that no matter what your protest, acting like that is going to show your side in a bad light. And it's going to give your opposition a little bit of ammo to use against you. please quit doing it, people. Quit attacking people, quit yelling, quit screaming, protest, and use the proper channels, and you will be heard. Well, thanks for stopping in. That's the end of my show. If you like what I do, go ahead and subscribe. It's gonna be here. I'm gonna throw another video over here, check out some of my other work, and as always, I'll see you guys tomorrow.